What's up everybody, it's Man of Low Moral Fiber here. My name's Luke, and in this video we're going to be looking at the frame rate of Grand Theft Auto 5 in the open world. I had made a video demonstrating the frame rate in the prologue mission where the game performed excellently, and I wanted to show what it's like here in the open world as well. This was my initial exploration into the open world, and I found this dog, and I knew that I really wanted this dog. You can see the frame rate up there in the top right is very solid. Basically, anytime you're on foot, the game seems to have an excellent frame rate and runs just fine. And so I didn't know how to get this dog. I didn't know if I could pick him up or if I could beat up the owner and try to take the dog after that. And so that was my plan. This dog seems to be following this guy, so my plan was to run up on this guy and punch him. And what you're going to see here is basically my first death in Grand Theft Auto 5, and I thought it was kind of funny, so I wanted to share it with you guys. So I'm just trying to catch this guy on the beach here. Like I said, I don't know how to play, and during this part I knew even less how to play. This is obviously my first day ever playing this game, and it's the first time I've played a Grand Theft Auto game in years. So I'm going to get up close to this guy here and sock him one, and at this point in time, the dog is going to kill me by basically biting me in the dick, and it made me laugh pretty hard, to be honest with you. I wasn't really expecting that. It's some pretty cool AI though, that the dog wants to beat you up if he sees you punching his owner. He's pretty vicious about it too. So that was actually the first time I died in Grand Theft Auto 5. Now to show the frame rate in some more scenarios, I figured I would just do one of the early missions again. I do think it's cool how the game lets you replay these missions. And so there was a little drop there as I spun around this little auto dealership or whatever this particular building is. It's one of your initial locations in the game. Anyway, you're going to see the only frame rate problems here, for the most part, once we get into this vehicle. Now the frame rate was a little bit lower than I would have liked as we were standing outside the vehicle there, but that's not too big of a deal. It's not as big a deal as what we're about to see to me. When you're driving around at high speeds, the frame rate does not perform very well. Keep in mind I am running a 5960X and two 980s in SLI, and for my system to be, barely maintaining 60 FPS as I'm driving around here at 1080p, granted all the settings are maxed and stuff, it seems a little bit weird to me that those won't, well, all the settings are very close to max. There are a couple things that I left just one setting or one notch below. But anyway, you can see that the frame rate there, I put it in the middle of the screen so it'd be a little bit easier to see, isn't really as high as I would like it, and that's a little bit weird. And keep in mind, this is the day the game is released. It's before any patches and stuff like that, so perhaps they will come up with a fix for this, and that would be something that I would definitely like, because right now with the frame rate dipping into the 70s or even the 60s sometimes, I think it's a little bit worse once I get the bike after this next mission. That is a little bit disconcerting. Obviously not everyone's system is as powerful as mine, and some people will probably have some more issues than I am currently having when they're driving around at high speeds. I did play the game for approximately 4 to 5 hours though, and I did not get any game crashes. So at the very least, the game is very stable, and I talked to a few friends who have the game as well, and none of them reported crashes either. And so I think that's a very good thing. I haven't been hearing anything about crashes online or anywhere that I've read, and so that's definitely a good thing. So we're doing a mission here where we're supposed to repo a bike, and it kind of all goes to hell. Some of you have probably already played this mission and stuff. It does come very early in the game, but we'll get to see what the frame rate is like during a firefight with these Hispanic gangsters and everything, and we'll see how it goes. Now, the frame rate during the firefight and everything, I don't mean to spoil it for you, is actually very solid. And as you can see here, I'm walking around right now, and it's very solid. For the most part, when you're on foot, the frame rate is great. The only time I have a problem with the frame rate is when I'm in a vehicle moving at high speed, and there's a lot of other vehicles around. So that seems to be where the issue lies, and I'm sure that in the future there might be a patch that could fix this. And that's kind of what I'm hoping for, because it is, like I said, disconcerting that my frame rate would drop all the way down to almost 60, given the system configuration that I have and stuff. And that's a little bit weird. I choose to play at 1080p instead of higher resolutions because I truly do enjoy playing at high frame rates. I like to have a frame rate around 120 in most games. I feel that it makes them more fluid, and it makes the gameplay more responsive and everything else, and that's kind of proven if you ever look into these studies with certain first-person shooter games and the relationship that frame rate has on their performance. So, or the performance of players within those particular games. So we're going to go ahead and go through this little firefight section here. I figured that this would be a good little mission to show the frame rate in the game in different scenarios, because we are going to get a couple different driving sequences and 2 different vehicles, and then we also get some walking sequences and a couple cutscene-ish things where the action is kind of controlled and you're just kind of watching. I don't know if you'd call it a cinematic sequence or what exactly you'd call it, but we do have some of that coming up as well at the very end of this, and the frame rates are excellent during those, obviously, as well. And that's good, because sometimes companies don't do a great job on making the frame rates good in, you know, controlled sequences or whatever. They drop that down to like 30 sometimes inexplicably, and I'm glad that this particular game does not do that. But the fact that driving and using vehicles is an integral part of the game, and that is where the frame rate problems lie, is a little bit disconcerting. But you can see here, even when things are exploding, my frame rate stays nearly constant. It gets a couple drops here and there, but for the most part, that's really solid. What bothers me, though, is, you know, when I'm going to get on this bike here in just a second, I was glad that I was able to snipe that guy so that we didn't have to go around chasing him and everything. But as you can see, once I hop back on this bike, we're going to get some serious frame rate issues. I'm interested to kind of watch the frame rate counter here, because I think I get all the way down to 60 at some point in time, and that's really bad. But like I said, during the gunplay and stuff, the frame rate is pretty solid. I think I saw like 1 or 2 drops to 90 and stuff in there, which is bad, but not terrible. However, like when I'm driving this bike around, and especially once I hit high speeds, the frame rate reaches areas at which I'm a little bit concerned. So, I don't know, you guys can take this for what it is. Obviously, you know, my system is a little bit more powerful than your average system, and so I'm not exactly sure how this particular issue that I'm running into would scale with other systems and everything. But I do think that if it's, you know, a problem here at the high end, it could probably be a problem, you know, for some lower ends as well. And so that might be something that people might want to wait on a little bit before they really commit to spending $60 or so on this game that technically is a few years old, but it just came out today on PC. So it's a weird scenario. You can see that I get all the way down to like 65 there. It dropped into the 50s momentarily. That's really, really bad. And like I said, I don't really know how to play yet. So sometimes I press the wrong button. I don't know exactly what I'm doing. I apologize for that. But yeah, it is a little bit concerning to me that sometimes the frame rate has these issues when you're using vehicles, because obviously the name of the game is Grand Theft Auto. You're going to be using a lot of automatic vehicles and stuff in this particular game. So it bothers me a little bit that there are some frame rate issues during driving sequences, and I don't know. Tell me how, for those of you who do have the game, tell me how it is performing for you guys. It'll be interesting to see exactly how long, or if there's how long it will take until, or if there's going to be a patch for this kind of issue when moving at high speed. I know that Far Cry 4 was a game that kind of had a similar issue that would cause frame rate drops when you were moving really fast on a four-wheeler or in a Jeep, etc. So it'll be interesting to see what becomes of this. As always, guys, I thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. If you haven't yet taken the time to subscribe, please do so. I would appreciate that. And we'll probably do another Borderlands 2 video tomorrow, and then get to some other Grand Theft Auto stuff, and, you know, kind of just expand our horizons on this channel. One more time, guys, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I do hope to catch you next time. Bye, guys.